If you want to start a sales team agency in 2026 and scale it to around that 10 to 15K a month, here's exactly the stack you're going to need along with what you're going to sell. Basically, the complete 38-step roadmap. The reason I'm recording this is because platforms constantly change, and it would be beneficial for you guys to know exactly what I would do if I had to start from scratch. This video is for beginners, AI freelancers who've been in the AI and automation space for quite some time, haven't made any real money yet, maybe sold a couple $100s of automation here and there, but nothing really sustainable. So, first, let's talk about what you are going to sell. Well, you're going to sell what every business wants, which is a way for them to get more clients, more conversations with buyers, because that's where you have the most leverage and can also justify charging 3 to 5 all the way to 10K retainers, because a business with no customers is simply not a business. Now, I know you might be thinking, Saad, but I also want to sell cool automations for them that do X, Y, and Z. Well, my answer to that is yes, you will, but you're not going to lead with that in the beginning, because as an entrepreneur who's fascinated with the AI and automation space back then, I was like, man, I want to automate everything, right? I want to build this cool automation, right? Cool automations sounded exciting to me. But to a business owner, they're just features, and features don't sell. A business owner wakes up thinking, how do I get more customers? Why is my sales pipeline dry? How can I stop wasting money on outreach that doesn't work? How can I stop bleeding money on expensive ads? That's the pain they feel. And if you can position yourself as the person who solves that, you're in. And once you're in, then you can bolt in all the sexy automations, AI replies, CRM build outs, custom dashboards, whatever you want. But you never lead with that because businesses don't buy cool tools, they buy outcomes. So the smart play is this: you lead with the front end offer that gets them more conversations with their ideal buyers. That's what gets you the 3, 5, 10K retainers. Then on the back end, you deliver the operational automation as a part of fulfillment or as a part of an upsell. So that way, you're not fighting uphill trying to convince someone they need an AI system they don't understand. So you're giving them exactly what they already know they need, which is more money and more revenue. And then you layer in automations afterwards. So now that you understand kind of like the idea of what you're going to sell, let's just go ahead and get started with this. So first, let's front load some credentials. I think it's pretty important, especially nowadays where every 16 years old is making $1 million a month from their mom's basement selling AI agents. But last month from money, so this is money in September 1 all the way to today. So I've made around $182,000, which is actually an increase because probably like 3 weeks ago, I recorded basically a live where like a live demo where I had to get a couple of sales opportunities basically live and show you guys the entire process. And I was around like 165K a month. So I kind of like increased my revenue a little bit, which was basically from upsells and automations that I sold to my existent clients. The fun fact is I did not try to increase my revenue, which I believe this is how the universe works. When you detach yourself from the outcomes, it paradoxically makes you more money, which I think this is like exactly how I want you guys to think, right? You always want to put in the work, obviously, duh, but at the same time detach from the outcome. And that's how you're going to live your life always winning. And people will always wonder, how the hell does this person actually does this? So these are the transactions here, as you can see. Obviously, this is not a screenshots because I can do this, right? Obviously. But we've made $182,000 a month. And this is basically my Mercury, which is basically like a banking for startups. This is my company, Mayo Process. Okay. So now that we got this out of the way, let's talk about the roadmap. So as you can see, it's a pretty hefty framework and a pretty hefty roadmap. It has 38 steps that I laid down to you. So whenever you get overwhelmed, always go back to this video, refer back to this video as a source, and then you're not going to be overwhelmed anymore. So let's start from the beginning. Quick heads up. This isn't some get rich quick hack. Obviously, you're not going to be pulling 10K a month by month one, obviously. And everyone who tells you you're going to make 10K a month in like 20 or 30 days, they're just lying. So please don't believe everything you see online, especially in the AI and automation space. Okay. And the second thing is you're gonna have to invest in yourself, obviously. So expect to put a few $100s into tools, infrastructure, which is the one that we're gonna discuss, because obviously no real business starts from zero, right? And anyone telling you otherwise is just selling you a fantasy. So please, again, don't follow the hype. Obviously, you have to put in the work. Ding ding, right? Of course, nothing in life comes easy. But if you stick to this roadmap I'm about to show you, you'll have a straight path all the way to like that 10, 15, all the way to 25K a month if you actually implement this. Okay. So let's talk about the first thing from the beginning. Okay. It's going to be a long video for you guys. So let's talk about startup investment, which is going to be infrastructure. Well, Saad, you might be thinking, Saad, well, what is infrastructure? Well, infrastructure is just basically your setup, tools, emails, domains, the engine that runs your outreach. Think about it like your own ship. So you're gonna use the connector positioning, which means, okay, if you're wondering, which means you don't buy for clients anything. You use your own infra to land clients and to deliver results for them. One setup, double use. So you stay in control, keep costs low, and look 10 times more professional. And it kind of like gives you the growth partner feel and that growth partner perceived value from the clients, which, to be fair, this is all that matters. Okay. And you're also going to be very, very profitable. My margins are 89%. Because I'm using my own infra. I don't buy anything from my clients. So I use my own stuff, right? So in terms of the infra, here's what you want to do. So you want to get 15 to 20 emails from Inboxology or premium inboxes. Okay. If you're wondering what are these platforms, well, it's Inboxology. I believe this is the platform, Inboxology, yes. So you want to get emails from here. You want to get 15 to 20 emails or premium inboxes. Okay. This is the one that I highly recommend you guys use. There's also Puzzle Inbox. And there's also Scaled Mail. Very, very good. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to get 50% Microsoft, 50% Google, just to optimize that deliverability, because Google sends to Google, Microsoft sends to Microsoft. Okay. And then you're going to get instantly, obviously, your cold email software instantly, no brainer. You want to go to pricing. You want to get the outreach, which is going to be monthly. Go for the hyper growth, $97 a month. Do not go for the growth because you can only upload 1,000 leads, which I think, you're just losing the forest for the trees. Just go for the 25,000 uploaded contacts and just get up and running, because you do not want to overthink this. You want to get up and running as quickly as possible. You also need like a lead sourcing database. Again, don't overthink it. Start with Apollo or LinkedIn and scrape your first batch. If you're wondering, Saad, how do I scrape Apollo? Well, you want to scrape it using ampleleads.io. If you sign up right now, actually, you get like 1,000 free lead credits. So you want to use this one. There's also Scraper City. Or you can use Apify. You go to Apify, Apollo. For anyone who says Apollo scraping is dead, I've heard this probably like 100 times the last 3 years. Scrapers are never dead, guys. They will never be dead, obviously. Like there's new developers that just built this in like 3 days. They're extremely talented, obviously, so we got to give them credits. So you get lead scraper here, lead scraper here. You can essentially just use that. If you're wondering how that looks, you can click on try for free. So you get, for $1.4, you get 1,000 leads, which I think it's a no-brainer again. So this pulls data from Apollo, right? This is how they do it. It's kind of like the back end, if you're wondering how this looks in practice. Okay. You can also use SalesNav. Okay. You just get a free trial, 30 days, and then you want to scrape it either using Apify or Phantom Buster. By the way, Phantom Buster is really good. Scraping LinkedIn. This is the one. Let me go to Dashboard, Solutions, LinkedIn Sales Navigator. This is the one. Or you can use Apollo, LinkedIn Sales Nav by this guy, Curious Coder. This one is a little bit cheaper, $39 a month. This one is $69. Okay. Just a heads up, when you scrape from Apollo, the only thing you have to do is basically verify the emails. When you scrape from LinkedIn, you have to find the emails, okay? Which takes us to the next thing, which is an email enrichment platform to either verify, find emails, dependent on where you scrape and what kind of data you got. So for example, if you scrape from Apollo, you want to verify the emails using either Mail Tester Ninja, very affordable. It's probably like around like 100, like not 100. It's probably around like the $11. Oh, $7 actually. You want to use either Mail Tester Ninja or you can use Million Verifier, okay, or like Zero Bounce, but this is one is very good. Okay. There's also, so this is for verifying the emails. To find in the emails, this is quite expensive, which is basically an email finder. If you go to pricing, they also give you the ability to verify emails a little bit cheaper. But if you go down the LinkedIn Sales Nav or whatever platform that gives you just the full name and the domain, because when you give these email enrichment platforms the first name, last name, or full name with the domain or the company name, essentially what they do is they try to ping that domain. They try the first name, for example, saad@mayaprocess.com, saad b, until they find the email, then send it to an email verification tool to check if the email is actually valid. So that's how it works under the hood. If you want to find the emails, you're going to have to either use an email finder, cost a little bit higher, which is the reason why I came up with the SSM Masters, which is like, it does the same thing, basically like the platform that I built specifically for the community, which is basically free for them. So it kind of works the same way. For example, if you're wondering how it works in practice, for example, if I go to app and I have like, this is the one, search, for example, person, you're going to just put, for example, HTTPS, for example, Mayaprocess is my own company domain. And then I put Saad. Obviously, they're going to give me the email. So valid. Now, is the same thing. Let me just log out. This is basically my dashboard where I approve people. For example, if I go to find an email, if I put Saad, mayaprocess.com, if I go to requests, boom, we found the email. And then there we go. You can just get it or like export, which is very easy. But this is how it works. Okay. There's also Hunter.io. Also really good. You can also use Prospeo. Really good too. What else? Yeah, Scrape.io, same thing. But you get the point, right? Now, let's talk about the second thing, or the next thing, is you need a payment processor to get paid. Obviously, right? And a way to send contracts to never lose deals. Okay, so in order for you to send contracts, there's multiple platforms. There's PandaDoc, okay? There's also DocuSign. What I would recommend, so let me just do it. DocuSign. DocuSign is a little bit cheaper. The cool part and the reason why I use PandaDoc and the reason why I recommend you guys use it is because they can integrate with Stripe. And the reason why you want to do it and use it is because when you send, like, for example, a proposal to a potential prospect, they look at it. You can literally track if they saw the proposal, if they clicked on something, and how much, like, what is the actual time they spend looking at the proposal. And they can essentially just sign, they get redirected to a Stripe page, click, pay, boom, that's it. And you get paid easily. Now, if you use DocuSign, unfortunately, they don't integrate with Stripe, right? But it's a bit cheaper, but you do not need to worry about it, to get up and running as quickly as possible. Set up Stripe, obviously. If you're like saying, Saad, I don't want to use Stripe, totally cool if you don't want to use Stripe, but I highly recommend you guys use Stripe. Like, you're starting a whole business, right? I don't think you should lose the forest for the trees, like always, right? Just use Stripe. Very frictionless. So you can also use this DocuSign. Like I said, does not integrate with Stripe. If you do not want to use Stripe, you can totally use a bank transfer or like Lemon Squeezy or like PayPal, but highly recommend you go for Stripe. Okay, so this is the entire infra you're gonna need. Let's talk about the next thing, which is niche selection, and start it off. So what you wanna do is you wanna pick a niche you understand or can learn fast. And most importantly, it has to be B2B. Don't bother dealing with B2C businesses. The reason why is because B2C businesses think in emotions. B2B businesses think in numbers. So when you're selling systems, numbers sell better than feelings, obviously. So a B2C founder wants more followers, right? In my experience. A B2B founder wants more meetings, more introductions, more revenue, and time back. So that's what your systems do. So talk to people who care about that, right? just go where the money is. Just kind of be like a bee, where bees go where the honey is, right? So a few proven niches that actually buy sales systems and automations. Well, recruitment and staffing agencies, obviously, they're always chasing clients. Your system can help them get more clients. Marketing agencies, heads up, doing more than $1 million a year. Do not deal with broke agencies that are marketing. So these ones, they need consistent intros to fill their own pipeline, but never actually have the time to do it. Biotech, AI startups, basically any B2B tech. Same logic, because client generation, guys, is everything. Okay? So don't overthink it. This is like the most important thing. Don't overthink it. Your first clients come from action, not actually thinking about it. So always remind yourself that you're not really marrying the niche. You're just learning the game. Okay? Next step, which is handling interested prospects. And I think this is going to help you guys a ton, because I got a lot of comments, people saying, how do I handle replies? So this is like exactly how to do it. When they reply, okay, obviously when you start your outreach, people are going to be replying. They're going to be like, yeah, sure, sounds good. So when they reply, they say, I'm interested. Here's what you do and what you never do. So let's start with don'ts. Don't explain your entire process. For example, we use XY, we use Z software. Never give pricing. Very, very, very big mistake. Never send case studies, decks, or long explanations. It shouldn't be like a game of tennis. Okay? So what you should do is qualify them with 2 to 3 questions, suggest the availability for a call, never pitch for a call. Don't say, hey, here's my calendar. That's how we get ghosted. Never be so needy and just send them a calendar link. Okay? So you want to create curiosity/scarcity. For example, you want to say, hey, perfect. Let's hop on a quick 15-minute call so I can understand your situation and see if I can help. I've got a time slot A or time slot B, either work. And by the way, I know you might be thinking, Saad, can I get the access to this whimsical? Well, of course, I'm going to leave it in the description. Bonus tip, if they push back, can you just send me more info first? Which is classic. You want to say, totally get it. The thing is, it depends on your specific situation, your niche, who you're targeting, what results you need. Easiest way to do this is just discuss this on a quick call, and you put the time slots. If they still won't book, no worries. Timing changes, just hit reply when it says something up, then move on. They're not serious, okay? Because I want to teach you guys the abundant mindsets. Like I said, you always want to be abundant. You do not want to have these scarcity mindsets, because there's 1,000,001 people that would want and love to work with you guys. Just work with them, right? You don't want to deal with tire kickers, okay? So once they are on a call, well, I should say before the call, have your payment processor plus contract ready, because if interested, you want to get started immediately, because I always say when people are hot, this is when you want to strike. Saad, can you stop being like a nightclub bouncer, right? I can't, guys. It's my identity, old identity, right? Still there. And after that, you close. Now, how to close, there's an entire sales formula that I shared with you guys already in this channel, which is this one here. You can just click on it. For example, if I click on it here, you can go, I'm going to hear myself. And then there's an entire live sales training, 1 hour. Sales are kind of like, this guy's pretty handsome. So we have a live sales training here. You can use it and just basically listen to entire recording of me just basically talking about it, which we start essentially with like assumed commonalities, basically a couple sales tactics that you guys would benefit from. All right, next thing, okay? Once you close, okay, and you follow the formula of sales training, you want to over deliver for client 1, because the first client is your foundation. So you want to do great work. So over deliver, under promise and over deliver. More importantly, document everything you did. This is a big mistake that I've made back then. And if I wanted to start from scratch, I would document everything, screenshots, SOPs, workflows, because this becomes your agency template library. Now, Saad, what do I document? Well, I got you. Well, you want to record what's working while you're actually building it. Think about it like creating your agency template library, just like I said, and it's going to save you hundreds of hours later. So here's what to document. Every workflow you build, take a screenshot of your make or N810 scenarios, note what each module does, and export the JSON if you can. This is your technical blueprint. You can also record yourself in Loom, just doing stuff like building out this workflows, right? Another thing, every email or message that works, if an outreach message gets a reply, save it in like a Google Drive folder, because these words become your assets. Your onboarding steps, obviously, what did the clients ask for? What access do you need? Save that as a checklist so you can systemize later, because you're going to use it for every new Client. Just a heads up, when you close actually a client, you need like an onboarding form, which is this one. So feel free to copy this. I already shared this before. So this is like my onboarding form, okay? Totally accessible. You just copy the text. So let me leave it for like a couple seconds, okay? Now you get the link, right? So there we go. And then client communication, you want to save Loom walkthroughs, status updates, even the phrasing you use to explain complex things simply. Very important. Even what you say, copy and paste that. Trust me, it's going to help you a ton. So that becomes your training material when you also bring in like VAs or stuff later on, right? When you want to scale. Also results before and after snapshots, basically screenshots of dashboards, metrics, or even like an email thread showing wins. Those becomes your proof for case studies. Why? Because once you've done a project once, you never want to rebuild it from zero. So documentation is how you clone yourself, right? So it turns what you did into a repeatable system without you being around. Okay. Next, then let's talk about case study for client 2 and 3. So obviously now you close the client, you over delivered for them. Well, you want to package the results, right? From client 1 into a short case study with numbers, outcomes, and screenshots. And you will use that as proof to land your next 2 to 3 clients faster. Saad, how does that look in practice? Because I had this question back then too when I first got started. So I get the questions that you guys have or someone in your case would have. Okay, because obviously I've been through that. So once you've delivered and the client is happy, don't just move on, package the results. That one project is your ticket to the next 3, 4, 5. And here's how you actually do it. So you want to grab the numbers. How many interests do you actually generate? How many hours do you actually save them? Did the revenue increase? Even a simple booked 9 qualified interests in 2 weeks is enough. Take screenshots, dashboards, campaign results, client messages, anything that shows proof. Write a short before and after summary. For example, 1 paragraph. Before the system, they were manually prospecting 10 hours a week. After, they're getting daily intros automatically. Get a quick note. This is something that you can do too. 1 sentence from the client saying it worked. I can also hop on a call with them, record it, and slap it on your website as a testimonial. For example, the client would be saying, hey, this saved our team hours every day, because that single sentence does more than a 2-page testimonial because it's a real person actually talking in a video. So now you've got a case study, not some fancy PDF, just 2 to 3 visuals and a short story that proves you can actually deliver results. So you'll use that in your next outreach, in your calls, even if you're in your own proposals, because now instead of saying I can build systems, well, you're saying I've already done it. Here's the proof. Okay? Next steps, which is upsells and automation, the cool stuff, right? CRM build outs. So once the client actually trusts you, don't stop at sales systems. I never do. That's just your entry point, essentially. So what you're really doing is opening the door to become their automation/growth partner. Keyword growth partner. Growth partner. So layer on backend automations, AI replies, pipeline management, CRM systems, reporting dashboards. You might be thinking, Saad, again, what can I upsell with? Well, this is exactly what I upsell my clients. An AI reply plus inbox handling system. If you've built outbound or lead gen flows, basically the same systems that I share in this channel, the next bottleneck is going to be reply management. Obviously, how can they reply? Well, you can upsell an AI generated email replies in GPT. Can feed them their company's contacts. You can also sell them like an add-on, which is categorizing replies from interested, not interested follow-up. And you can forward hot leads directly into their CRM or Slack. Very high ROI, so their sales team can literally just check their calendar. Okay, I got this guy from this sales campaign, from this growth partner, which is going to be you. So, okay, I know what I'm going to be doing. So obviously, you know how to use Make.com or N8N and APIs since you've watched my channel, you know a little bit about this. So essentially what you're doing is just layering one more module, which is going to be like an OpenAI call or like conditions, okay? The next thing is CRM build-outs plus deal pipelines. Every client doing outreach eventually says, well, okay, we're getting replies, but we can't track who's there. So you can fix that by setting up a CRM for them. For example, HubSpot, Pipedrive, Airtable, ClickUp, and Notion. Automating lead stages, for example, new, contacted, demo, and close, and creating dashboards that track conversion rates. Even if you don't know anything about building CRMs, you're probably gonna spend like a week like poking around that, and you'll be good because you're already passing data through automations. Now you're just storing it neatly and like visualizing it. Reporting dashboards, again, most business owners obviously on the planet never know what's working. So you can upsell automated weekly performance reports, Slack or email summaries. For example, 12 new intros. 3 demos booked, 1 deal closed. What I do is I send it to Slack, and what I do is I send them an email, say, "Hey, Dream Team, if you go to my website, this is exactly the email that I send. There we go. Dream Team, new booked lead, interested, right? I actually showed this in my website so they can visualize the success and visualize themselves winning, because humans think in images. When you show them the image of them winning, you create this good, um, beautiful feeling, right? And they want to work with you more. Okay. Let's talk about backend automations. Excuse me. So let's continue first this. So obviously you're not just pulling the same data. Essentially you're just collecting that and turning that into insights. Okay. Let's talk about backend automations now, which is maintenance optimizations. So once systems run, obviously they need maintenance, right? Fixes because something is gonna break, right? So new integrations, optimizations, that's going to be your recurrent retainer. So you're going to say, hey, we'll monitor and optimize the automations monthly. We'll add new triggers or workflows as your team grows. Okay. Ideally, when you want to get to that level here, when you want to upsell them, you want to hop on a call with them, say, hey, there's no reason why we can do X, Y, and Z that will double or triple X, Y, and Z in your business, right? That's how I say it. Okay. So this is 100% what you already do, just positioned as ongoing value. Literally what you're doing right now, since you built this, you know, kind of like you have the keys to the castle. So you're just positioning it better, kind of like saying the same thing. So do you have the skills? Well, obviously you already do, because you can build now workflows in make.com NA10, connect APIs, use GPT for personalization, and think in simple logic, right? Obviously. So I'm going to give you this little thing here, which is use this to help build your workflows. This is like an NA10 assistant that I also use. So this is the one. So essentially it can walk you through everything. Just put in the system that you want. It can even generate the entire JSON for you. So once you do that, then you can deliver everything above. The only difference now is how you position it and sequence it to the client. Obviously, the first project proves you can deliver. The upsells prove you can scale. So this turns a one-off 2K deal into a 5K to 10K relationship. Okay? Let's talk about the last step, which is systemize and scale. So by now you've closed 8 to 10K with your documented processes. You've got proof, clients, and cash flows. Now the game shifts from can I get clients to can I handle growth without actually burning out? And I got to that 40K a month and I burned out. Like back then, I remember like I was barely eating like 1 meal a day, but I do not recommend you guys do this too. But once you get to that level, you want to systemize, you want to template delivery and stop rebuilding from scratch. Obviously, now you have documented systems because this is going to free your time and lets you scale to that 10K a month beautifully. You're just going to cruise, right? But here's the golden rule. What got you here won't get you there. At 8 to 10K a month, hustle works, okay? Past that, hustle kills, like I said. So now your job isn't building more systems for clients, it's building systems for yourself, right? So clients acquisition pipelines, delivery templates. Maybe you can hire like a part-time operator or like a VA who handles setup and reporting. And here's another that I'm going to leave you with. You don't scale by doing more. Okay, this is something I had to learn myself. You scale by doing less repeatably. So that's the quiet shift that separates freelancers from founders. And once you grasp that, you're no longer playing the client game. You're building a real business. So hopefully this roadmap gives you complete clarity on what you should be doing. So the only thing you have to do right now is simply just follow the roadmap, get out there, take action. I believe in you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.